Good evening everybody, welcome to Sim Racing Bible and welcome back to a Saturday evening stream. I hope you're all doing well. It's good to see you with us this evening. We are back today in Automobilista 2 and yes everybody, it is time. It's been long enough and it is now time for me to check out some mods for AMS2. Now up until this point I've kept my AMS2 install completely standard. There's no skins, there's no mods, so it's just been exactly as it is from standard as you download it. The reason being is kind of silly really, to be honest. I've for some reason always thought that mods are going to mess things up, but you know, here we go. But anyway, it is now time for enough silliness. Now we're going to get involved in the mod side of things and check out some of the latest mods for Automobilista 2. So that's what we're going to do this evening. We're going to test them out, all the ones that I can find available, and just see which ones work really well, which ones I like, which ones I'm still not quite sure about, but we'll find out later on, I'm sure. But some exciting stuff to jump into this evening, so welcome to it, everybody. Personic's here, welcome Personic, welcome Frank, welcome Mark as well, good to see you. Mark says, I honestly thought that new IndyCar was the only mod available for AMS2, interested to see some more. Well there we go, so we're all learning this evening, so brilliant, great to have you with us. So let's get ourselves over into the game now, and we'll get cracking with our first mods for the evening, which hopefully you can see. There we go, that's better. Alright, let me get myself in there as well. Alright, so as you can see on the screen in front of us here, we have an Alpine, an A110 Cup car. So yeah, this is going to be fun. We've got lots to test out this evening, so plenty to enjoy. Even Funky, good to see you guys with us this evening. Frank says, with AMS2, it's the other way around. The updates mess up the mods. yeah, we'll get onto that a little bit more as we go. But it's a very valid point indeed. So let's crack on. We're going to start off with the Alpine A110 Cup car at the Nürburgring Vidal, which is the fast chicane version of the Nürburgring. So we'll load in as a test session here and we'll just load the car out and see what it's driving like. So we'll have a look at the liveries afterwards. I forgot to show you the liveries available for it, but we will check those out when we come out of the session. Hey Marty, good to see you. Welcome along. Good to have your company as always this evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to see you, and it's good to be back in AMS2 because I really do enjoy driving the sim. Yeah, we're all here, Funky. Hold on to your hats, we're all here. Right, okay. So Alpine A110 Cup car then. So let's have a quick check out here. So I've got the looking around buttons mapped here, so we can have a look down. Look at that steering wheel there with the dash on it and the dials and buttons and things. That's very cool. What have we got over here? Let's get out into the sunshine actually, shall we? Get out of here so we can actually see the cockpit a little bit more. There we go. You can just see over to the right side there. Still got a fairly standard dash in there. Bit of carbon fibre nestled in around the roll cage. So yeah, very nice. Right. Didn't check if this one was a H-pattern or a sequential. I think it's going to be sequential gearbox, this one. So, first of all, quick sound check. Let's actually get to pit lane speed limit so we don't get a penalty. Right. Sounds pretty good. We've got some flashing textures going on the top of the dash there, which you might be able to spot. Stone cold tyres, of course. Let's get some heat into those, and then we can start putting this little Alpine through its paces. Sound good. Quite light on the steering as well, but at the same time, still feel what's going on underneath me, which is a good start. Already feeling pretty good. It's got a strong start for the evening. Funky says they let me out. Sorry, Frank said they let me out with some weird ankle bracelet. Well, at least they let you out. Hey Andreas! Says check this guy out, not me. Superb mods. No jokes. Funky, you got your wheel working again. Oh, fantastic. Well, that's brilliant news. I'm really pleased to hear that. You can look forward to being mediocre online once more. Well, we'll look forward to having you back. We'll have to throw some more community races up there so we can all have a good laugh to go again. Right, so this particular one is from a modding team which you can find online. There's 3 modding teams that we're going to be showcasing work from this evening. This is the first of them, which is the Project Cars modding team. Now, a bit of a clue in the name potentially there, where they have originated from in the world of Project Cars, and also might be a bit of a clue as to where some of the stuff comes from. But they have quite a wide selection of, well, the widest selection of mods available, so there's going to be a lot of them that we test this evening, which are going to be from those guys. We'll get on to the others as and when we cover them, but for now this is a Project Cars modding team creation. So now we've got some temperature in the tyres. Let's push on a little bit and see what this thing is like. So it's a fairly, in the grand scheme of things, fairly low powered car, this thing, so it should make for some pretty good racing. So I think getting a pack of these on track at the same time could be pretty good fun. But it feels nice on the track. It feels, you know, quite lively. It's quite similar in a way to the Ginetta G40s and the Cup cars. Similar kind of power and weight, I suppose. Maybe a little bit more powerful than the Ginetta, but similar kind of handling characteristics, should we say. So Andreas, yeah, covering here the creator of this mod here, so convert a lot of cars to MS2. This is great work. Yeah, there's some good looking stuff which we're going to be testing out this evening, which is going to be fun. And the sounds are good too. I mean, I haven't noticed this being a replica of other sounds on AMS2. I mean, it sounds kind of similar, I suppose, to the little Ginettas, but it's not a direct port over of just taking that sound and putting it onto this particular car. So it does have its own sounds. Do the quick chicane, getting it sideways, of course, but tries to hold it. But yeah, force feedback's nice. We can feel all the bumps and things, so it's always a bit of a worry, isn't it, when you try a mod for the first time? You're not quite sure how it's going to handle. Some of them have some weird force feedback things going on, or you know, there's always a little bit of inconsistency against the genuine cars, which are made by the developers themselves. So it's always a bit of a unsurety going into a new mod, but picking this thing up straight away certainly doesn't stick out as a obvious kind of candidate for something which might not have been genuine content in the first place, so that's always a good start. But yeah, it's nice, it handles well, dances around on the track a little bit. There's 2 versions of this. So we have this, which is the Cup Car, with quite limited aero. Obviously it's just basically a road car turned into a race car. Let's have a quick look at it from the outside. So here you go. So it's just the standard Alpine A110 body with no extra wings or anything added to it. It looks good, doesn't it? It's nicely detailed. Nice looking paintwork on it as well. It's metallic, which is very, very nice indeed. And sounds are, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I mean, everything seems to just look just as good as you would expect to see with the standard content on AMS2, so that's nice. It's a strong start. We might chuck some of these into a race as well at some point and just see what they like to drive against others and see what the AI are like using these modded cars as well. That might be a good test. Get a quick chicane, that's where we got a little bit sideways. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do you like that? Okay, so let me I'll go back to the garage here and I'll show you the livery options available for this thing as well. So just to catch up on what you guys have been saying. So Evan below, hey, welcome. It says, hey Phil, any chance of a how to do it video for installing mods? Yes, so there are a couple of them out there which I haven't checked out myself, but I just kind of went through the README and did it that way. It's not a straightforward process of installing mods like you would get on rFactor or a set of course or something like that. It's a little bit more engaged and more involved. So yeah, I mean, if you feel that there's a need for me to do a video on how to install them, I'll gladly put something together for you guys, and that's no problem at all. But yeah, it can be a little bit confusing if you're not used to doing something in quite that way. So right, actually before I show you that, just catch up. So Frank says, I think Rob Billard from the modding team is now connected to Verizon some way, from what I said. Oh right, okay, oh that's cool. Hope that ankle bracelet helps your trail braking. A little bit of extra weight to pull him down. Marty says there's some very nice custom liveries out there. There are. That's the next thing I'll have to get into. I've conquered my modding demon. Now I can have a look at liveries. So here we go. Speaking of liveries, this is the selection available for the Alpine Cup. So we have some very standard-looking Alpine liveries on there. We have a tricolor version there as well. But yeah, pretty standard as you'd expect to find with an Alpine type livery. But yeah, it's that's the only one that really sticks out as being separate from everything else. But all nicely done. I mean, if we jumped in here, we get this. Let's have a look. Which one should we check in the showroom here? We'll have a look at one of the orange ones and just see how that looks under the lights. So there we go. Just a nice glossy orange paint on that one. But yeah, I mean, it's nicely done. There's no obvious kind of model errors and things anywhere. It's sharp. It's detailed. It looks really good, doesn't it? So yeah. Great start. Okay, so I mentioned there's two versions of the Alpine. So there's this one, which is the Cup, and then if you scroll a bit further down, ignoring some of the other ones which might be popping up here that you might have noticed, there's a GT4 version of it as well, which has the Aero. So we'll jump into that one next. This one does have a few extras in terms of livery options, some more real-world livery-ish. So we have some race tech ones there. We have K&N. We have Turn 1 as well. So yeah, some real-world sponsors on these cars, IBAC as well. So yeah, let's test out the GT4 equivalent. I quite like the old Renault livery. That looks pretty nice. Yeah, so we'll jump in this one here. We'll go 220. I'm back to back it at the same circuit, so we kind of have an idea of what they're like in comparison. I didn't take a note of the lap time there on that standard Cup car, but we'll be able to tell if it's quicker, I'm sure. It's GT4 specs, so it's going to be quicker. MFB Videos says, go to the like button, people. Yeah, please do. If you are enjoying what you're seeing so far, hit the like button. Be great. Great to see what you guys think. 7below7 says, amazing, completely lost otherwise. Okay, good. Well, in that case, I'll put something together and then you can see what it is that needs to go through. It is a little bit of a process, but once you've gone through the first one, the next ones are quite straightforward to get your head around and things. But yeah, that's fine. We can do that. Frank says, yeah, hit like. I'm the only one so far. Oh, thanks, Frank. Thanks for the support. Steve, welcome, Steve. He says, hi, Phil. Thinking of getting a Moser R5. What do you think? Well, by the sounds of your experiences you've had with the Thrustmaster, I think you were having problems with Thrustmaster, weren't you, Steve? The Mosers are a good way to go. I think there were some quality issues early days, but I think they've rectified a lot of that now. So I think the Moser wheels are actually a really viable and quite a cost-effective option for people looking to get into a direct drive wheel. So yeah, I think the Moser ecosystem is pretty good as well. So yeah, definitely a good thing to investigate further. Definitely. Hit like, says Frank, or Phil will be grounded and sent to bed early without dinner. I gotta work for my food around here. So Frankie says, if you do a vid on installing mods on Linux, it's double gold stars. Oh, okay. No pressure. Right, let's try this Cup car out, guys. Again, probably a very similar cockpit model, I would have thought. Let's just get into the sunlight, have a quick look down. Yeah, so there we go, same beautiful steering wheel on this thing. Everything else remains pretty much exactly as it was, but this should have some improved cornering abilities. We have a bit of a wing on the back as well, so let's see what that does for our downforce. Right, off we go. This one definitely picks up quicker than the Cup Car. Also needs to stop. Cold tyres, Phil. Okay. Let's get some temperature going on here. Again, similar sounds to the Cup Car. Yeah, got a bit more power, just kicks off those corners. Now, I wasn't sure actually, we didn't check if the Cup Car is running treaded tyres or whether that was on slicks. Because if it's on treaded and this is on slicks, then that'll be a big difference in terms of cornering ability. So let's get some temperature in and then we can make a solid judgment on that. Hey Samuel, welcome along. Says, hello, wanted to see you race in the IndyCar before installing mod myself. Aha, get the insider knowledge. Yeah, we'll be getting onto the IndyCar in good time as well, because that's one of the most talked about ones in AMS2 at the moment. So excited to check that one out, show you guys what that's like. Just hope you have a great weekend, so sorry. Oh, well, I hope you have a great weekend too. It's been pretty good so far, and it's also pretty good right now. So here we go, picking up the pace. The tyre temperatures are picking up. Ooh, 6 gears, quite tall, isn't it? The revs just die as soon as you hit sec. Right, thread it through the chicane. Into the final hairpin. I have to adjust tyre pressures from standard because full lapping, they're still not up to proper operating temperature yet. Not quite sure what the time of day temperatures are like as well. That could be an contributing factor. It's more stable than the Cup Car, so there's less sliding around, I was going to say. It's just kind of still moving around a little bit there, but it is a little bit more stuck to the road, which you would kind of expect with running a GT4 specification. A bit more cornering grip. So you may have noticed actually as well that there was an update for AMS2. I think for me, I installed it last night, but some of you may have only just installed that yourselves. Only a very little update, nothing too major, just a few fixes and things here and there. And it does bring out and highlight one of the issues with mods in AMS2 currently, and that is what Frank alluded to earlier, saying that when an update comes out for AMS2, all your mod files have to be updated so that they show up and work properly. So the way it works is you have obviously the files themselves, and then you have what's called boot files, and that's basically what tells AMS2 that there's extra content to look for. So that needs updating every time there's an update for AMS2, so you might have to wait a little bit after an update has dropped before the new boot files are released, so you can actually drive the mod files again, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's the nature of the Madness engine as it is currently. I know AMS2 guys, Riser, are working on trying to make modding more available and accessible and easier for people to get involved in, so we'll see what the future holds in that regard, but for the time being at least, that's the system we have to work with. We'll cover that a little bit more when it comes to doing a video on how to install them and things. Well, this is feeling pretty good. We finally have some green tyres to play with. But yeah, it's feeling nice to drive on the road here. You can really chuck it into these corners with a good degree of confidence, knowing what the car's like underneath you. And then just click through those gears as they quickly come at you into the banked hairpin there. A little bit of understeer mid-corner, but pull it back in again. Through the Schumacher S. A little bit of a lift just to make sure we made it through there safely, but the lap time's still deleted because the race director says you went off the track. Barely. But still counts. If you're not keeping it inboard according to the clerk of the course, then you're going to feel his wrath. So Samuel says, yeah, installing mods isn't as straightforward as in AC. Yes, that is a much more straightforward process. Which is probably why a lot of people haven't really bothered with the modding side of things for AMS2. Just because of the nature of what it's like to install them. And that's fair enough. If you're not particularly confident with working with files and computers and all sorts of things like that, then it can be quite intimidating, and I can fully appreciate that. But so far, we've only tried 2 cars out of the group for this evening, but it's already looking like a worthwhile thing to get involved with. But take a quick look at the replay of the GT4 on track in its yellow Alpine livery. The overhung swan neck rear wing on there as well. Not a fan of that particular style of rear wing. I know it's obviously very popular with modern GT cars and things, but I just don't like the look of it. Just a personal thing. But yeah, again, model looks good, sounds well, and drives nicely as well, so yeah. Looks good on track too. A little bit of flickering going on there from a long distance. I wonder what that's all about. Is that just camera related perhaps? That's the only noticeable thing that we've seen on these mods so far, just a little bit of texture flickering going on, but very infrequent and nothing really too much to worry about. Still looks top quality. Right, so that's the Alpines. Good fun little cars, and as I said, I'm pretty sure they'll be really good for racing purposes as well. It would be really interesting to test that out. Jusk, hey Jusk, welcome along, good to see you. Says, hey Phil, nice to see someone tackling all the mods at once. Yes, well, we're going to do my very best to cover all of them this evening. We've got quite a few to get through. I want to give each one a fair chance to show what it's really like. So we're going to kind of whistle through them initially just to kind of have a drive, have an initial understanding of what they're like. And then we might cherry pick a few to go back and revisit and do some racing with. So great. Okay, so back up to the top then. We're just going to go through this in alphabetical order, I think, really. I think that's probably the way we're going to tackle this. So next up, we go from Alpine and ARC Camaro to Porsche. P comes before C, just remember that, guys. So here we go. This, everybody, is the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup 992 spec, the latest specification Porsche Cup car. So let's take a look here. We have some official Porsche liveries, various colours with Porsche down the side. And we have some seemingly real-world Cup car liveries on here as well. Looks like Porsche Carrera Cup Germany, I would have thought. Not quite sure. But yeah, there it is. So quite a few real-world liveries on there. We have a BWT pink livery if you wanted that. Yeah, so some good-looking liveries to choose from on there. I'm going to run with... I'm going to go with the GoPro one. That looks cool. All right, let's take a look at the car in the showroom. Have a pour over it. So there's some texturing issues on the skin there. That might be the skin itself, or it might just be settings and things. But looking beyond that, the model itself looks pretty nice. Nice detail on all the lights and the wheels there. Need to zoom out a little bit here so we can see a bit more. We've got the Contec air jack on there. The interior looks a little bit basic, but that's fine. Okay, let's go drive this thing. Where should we go with this one? Let's change up the circuit here. Let's go Where's a good cup car circuit? Or where's a not so good cup car circuit we can test it out on? Let's have a look. Where should we go? Well, let's go to Hockenheim, shall we? Why not? We'll stick in Germany for the time being. We'll go to New Hockenheim circuit. And yeah, let's load in. So, Funky says, really enjoyed the new single-seater in MS2. I'm catching up with the new content. Yeah, the Formula Inter is really good, isn't it? It drives nicely, that. It's kind of, yeah, as Frank said, it's kind of F4 kind of specification. Yeah, the Formula Inter is a good addition. It's good fun. A lot of people are really enjoying that as well, which is nice to see. Evening, Sam. Just in time for my favourite mod. Oh, excellent. Well timed. Samuel always... oh, Funky says always like a new Porsche to try. Yep, I would definitely be giving that a rip around here. Yeah, the sim does look really good. Hey, Alex Hockenheim. Yes, German car on German track. Of course, had to do it. It's a little... yeah, it is a bit modern for your liking, isn't it, Funky? Right, now... we mentioned in the showroom that this thing looked quite basic on the inside. However, jumping into the driver's seat, it does look anything but basic. So let's have a quick sound check. Okay, sounds pretty good. Let's have a quick look around. We'll get ourselves actually out into the sunlight again. Let's just come down pit lane here. There we go, get some sunshine on that carbon fibre. Let's have a look down this way. So you've got our driver catch netting on the right hand side there. Let's have a look down at the wheel. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Nice detail on the wheel there with the carbon fibre and the shading that you get in the light as well. Yeah, looks really good. Right, let's go take this out on track and see how it drives. That's the main thing, of course. Richtig and wichtig. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Of course we're going to have the beautiful flat 6 sounds. Again, no tyre temperatures, so we've got to build that up. It'll be interesting to see what this is like. This has obviously appeared in a few sims recently. We've got one of these cars in iRacing, we have it in our Factor 2. So I think it's anywhere else. I think there's a version of it in a set of Corsa as well. Not sure. But it's quite a popular car to race online. Obviously, have the Porsche Esports Series on iRacing. It'll be interesting to see how it drives here in AMS2. It's not going to be flat. Good weight through the wheel. You kind of feel the car leaning on the tyres a little bit through the corners there. Still early days, of course. Vibrations over the curves there. A lot heavier steering than we had in the Alpine. Oops. That's very in the curves. Yeah, not surprised I got a strike for going over the edge of the track there. Probably get another one now. Okay, well let's pick up the pace here a little bit. Down to turn 1. Nice flutter on the downshift there. We have the transmission having a bit of a complaint as we slam down the gears in the sequential box. Stop. Rear is rotating quite a bit through there actually then. Perhaps running a little bit of understeer as well through there. Again, still building that temperature, so we won't criticise it just yet. A bit of oversteer on the exit there. Okay, so once we've got full tyre temps up, it could actually be flat, but we'll see. So with the new modern day Cup car, such as this one, the feeling in iRacing specifically was that it was a little bit closer to a GT3 car. It was not quite as unique to drive as the old Cup car, or the previous generation Cup car, should I say. But it still had its inherent handling characteristics and traits. That's the gravel film. So you still have to drive it like a 911, but there is more grip available to you. Just discarding my little excursion just there, but there is more grip available than you would normally get in the old generation Cup car. Inside there. Okay, things are looking a bit happier in tyre land. So Alex says I'll try and buy AMS2 soon, but it could be difficult because of a handful of reasons. Oh, okay. Definitely worth picking up if you can. It's definitely well worth a try. God, I get feeling the bumps through there. It's quite nice. Actually, kind of felt it just hopping around on the track surface, which was really cool. Riding up over the sausage curve on the outside there. The curbs. Colours being reflected on the interior as we go over them there. There is a bit of an issue with trying to get this thing into the apex sometimes, especially the quicker corners, so let's try and see if we can remedy that. It might just be my driving. That's just too late onto the brakes then. Brakes are good. Guess you stopped in good time. Flat through here. No, chickened out. Let's turn in this time. Let's go on the inside. It's mostly these last two corners where it seems to be really struggling, so let's see if we can sort them out. Yeah, a little bit better. I may have just put in a little bit too hot last time around, maybe. Okay, well, that feels pretty solid. I mean, there's lots of good forces going on through the steering wheel. I can feel all the movement of the car. It's good weight to it as well, as I said earlier on. You can feel there's a lot of tyre on the surface of the road with the slicks. Sounds are really good, of course. We used to having good sounds in Porsches. This is no exception. Interior looks really nice as well from the driver's seat. Anyway, you can really see all the details of the car. The dash is nice as well. Handling wise, yep, it's pretty good. I think with a bit of setup work on it as well, you probably can extract a bit more performance out of it than I was seeing here. I think perhaps the front end could be a little bit sharper for my liking, but in its default settings as it is here, you can still drive and you can still get around the track pretty well. But yeah, no, it feels like a good mod. Definitely worth adding to the repertoire. Let's quick watch from outside. Delivery doesn't look too bad from this far out. It doesn't look as low res. Maybe it was just it kind of is still there, I suppose, but from a distance it looks okay. Again, model looks really good, doesn't it? It's just nicely done. Yeah, just managed to find the inside, only because I made sure I overslowed it just a little bit, just to make sure it was getting in there with no problem, but it's pretty cool. So Alex says about AMS2, it looks great too, and is definitely cheaper than R Factor 2. Yes, and you can pick it up on the sales as well, and that really helps with bringing the price down as well. Even so, the regular price, it's definitely way worth the money you pay for it. It says your front right temperature is low on pressure or temp. I was on the dash. Yeah, there's one which was a little bit lower than the others, wasn't there? But obviously wasn't working them hard enough. Just because I've not tried this pork yet. I like the Alpine though. Yeah. Oh, okay. It might be worth a go for this one. But yeah, the Alpine was nice. But Andrea says this car has an issue. At slow speed corners, when you try and turn it in, it spins. Tested it for like 5 hours. Couldn't find a way to not spin. Okay. It was loose up the low speed stuff, but yeah, I didn't find it was particularly spintastic, but maybe I wasn't pushing on hard enough. But yeah, it was still pretty good though. Definitely enjoyed that. Okay, let's crack on. Let's find the next one. Frank says the livery looked low res earlier because of your potato GPU. Ah, yes, the old 970 is working hard, guys. It really is. It's currently emitting flames as it's it's working so hard, trying to keep up with it. But hopefully, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe some updates on that. We'll see. Cool. So that's the 911 Cup Car, which is pretty good. Let's go down the list then and try and spot the next one on here, which is not your standard series of cars here. So running on down, what are we into next? Okay, so next we come into what's known as the GT1 Sports Club, which is a real world series. It's not actually a proper championship, it's more like a opportunity for people who have these particular types of cars to take them to a GT World Racing event and then drive them on track semi-competitively, I think is the idea. And in this class, we have 3 cars available to us. We have the Porsche 935, which is the 992 based version of classic Porsche. We have the Ferrari FXX K. So yes, we have Ferraris in AMS2. And we have the Lamborghini Essenza SCV12, which is the absolutely ballistic mad GT car, which they've made as like a one make series type car, kind of to take over from the Super Trofeo, really, I think. But it's just a typically bonkers Lamborghini. So let's continue with the Porsches, and we'll start off and we'll work our way down. So this is the 935. So we have 705 brake horsepower from its 3.8 litre flat six, 7-speed sequential gearbox. Let's have a look at the livery options we have available. So we have obviously the standard factory ones. We have some Interscope type replicas there. We have some classic renditions. We have a Viant Viant livery type things. They're replicas. What else we got? A couple of other classics with a very, very grey looking option. But yeah, so we have some. Oh, we have the Aero type BBS spoke wheels on there. It looks quite cool. I've always been a fan of the Interscope livery. It just looks really mean. So let's have a look in the showroom here. Carbon fiber city. Hey Kevin, welcome. Welcome. Good to see you. Hey Dolro as well. Good to see you guys with us this evening. Samuel's a fan of these particular cars, a bit like GT2 we have nowadays. Yeah, very similar. Probably a little bit more power than you get in the GT2 cars, I think. Frankly, I think Mirage have been clever to make modding difficult till they are financially secure. Why would anyone buy DLC if they could just download free mods? It's very true. But I think it's, yeah, it is a tricky situation, but people have found their way around it, so that's good. Right, cool looking car. Let's get out on track in this thing. Let's take this to somewhere we can use all that 700 brake horsepower, shall we? Let's go to... I'm kind of loath to take it to Monza, really. I want to put it through its paces rather than just straight line. Let's find somewhere else. Somewhere that's just suitably open enough so it actually has a chance, but we can actually use some corners. Well, let's go Spa-Francorchamps, why not? I'm going to do the 2020 variant. Shall I? No, let's do the new one. I suppose we better had. Right, let's load in. See how this 935 goes. So, I don't know what your thoughts are on this particular car. I think, yeah, I mean, I can see what they're trying to do. They're kind of mirroring the old 935 and a bit of the Moby Dick look to the rear end there with the kind of sweeping long tail. I don't know. It's not one of my favourite looking Porsches ever. It's not ugly by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not one of my favourite looking ones. But let's see how it drives anyway. It's waving to our victory there. Okay. Well, there's no sunshine on the side of the pits here, but let's have a quick look at the interior here. So, again, very similar Porsche steering wheel to the one we had in the Cup car. We have a couple of extra dials on the dash there. They work. We'll see when we get moving, but right hand side down here we have you can see a nice wooden ball on the top of the gear knob there. Very retro throwback, and some various switches on there. We even have some standard demister and aircon switches on the dash there as well, so keep yourself cool when you're thrashing around Spa-Francorchamps. Right, here we go. So Samuel says you can house a couple of families under that wing. It's pretty big, isn't it? Right, some gauge speed limiter hit. We already had a bit of a sneak preview of the sound on this one. It sounds very Porsche flat 6-ish. Okay, let's unleash it. So from what I remember of this particular car, the engine note is a little bit deeper than you get with the GT3 Cup cars as such. It's a lot more of a deep rumbly type of flat 6. Higher up you don't really notice it that much, but when you get lower down in the rev range you can kind of hear there's a little bit of a deeper tone to it. Into Les Combes we go. Again, just taking it nice and easy on this outlap, just so we don't bury ourselves in the tyre wall. Into Rivage. Look across to the pit buildings on the distance. Nice, you can see the reflection of the dash in the windscreen there. It's very off-putting, but nice to see. That's the limiter fill. Into on. Already feels to be a good amount of grip in this thing. To the piff paff. Some little wobbly bits on the inside of the curbs there to stop people like me from absolutely mullering them every lap, so just stay off those. curve 4 flare. To be aware now that there's some gravel on the outside of there, just ready to catch us. Get off the curb. On our way up to a very, very quick Blanchiment. Dab the brakes going into there. And then down to the bus stop. Big stop into here. To second gear. Over that curb on the inside. So, Simon says from the 3, you prefer the Ferrari, okay. We'll see how that one goes next. So, the source, big gravel trap on the outside there. It certainly picks up pretty well. Down towards Eau Rouge and Radiant. It's tighter through there, isn't it? So we've got to be wary of that. So Frankie says, try the new Group C cars around Vintage Spa. Epic. Yes. Oh yeah, they are. The new Group C cars are very, very good, and old Spa is also very fun. Really unleash them. Hey Victor. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening. It says, hi my friend, in Automobilista 2 is force feedback similar to Project Cars 2. What's the difference? Okay. For me, the force feedback in AMS2 is better. There are some files you can use on Project Cars, I believe, to try and improve the force feedback, and then even then I don't think it's still up to the spec of AMS2. I prefer the feel of AMS2. But you get a really good understanding of road surfaces and weight transfer and bumps, etc. I know some people complain of it perhaps being what they refer to as being floaty, but I think for me, I don't feel that. So it's just all down to settings changes and making sure you have them optimised for your particular hardware that you're using. But yeah, I prefer the force feedback in AMS2. I think it's very, very good. Just about kept it on the tarmac there. Again, really, really good brakes. Gets the thing stopped from very high speed to slow corners, such as the bus stop or the source here in no time. Except when you brake too late, of course, that is, but even then, you can still get away with it. So much says, Funky finally playing catch up. Right, let's have our brakes. Let's get through here without still running over the curb on the inside there. Wow, you've got to really slow it down for Rouge now. Marty, not even bought the new DLC yet, says Funky. Right, start leaning on this a little bit more now. Second gear for Rivage. Even in third, use all the torque from the flat six. Right, let's get a little bit enthusiastic with the throttle here. I've been quite gentle with it up until now. What happens if you just drive it like an absolute hooligan? So let's see. Let's try that out when we get into the Piff Path, which is a bit slower than Pouon. Because I think from what I've been hearing as I've been going around, there's a little bit of TC kicking in. Yeah, like that, there we go. So that's good to know. You can have your heavy right foot taken care of by some electronic stability. Still doesn't stop you from going too quickly through corners though. Bounce, bounce, bounce over the gravel. Okay, well this is good. Again, nice feeling through the wheel. Good feeling of weight on the car. It's not really feeling like it's understeering too much or skipping over the surface of the road very much as well. It's quite nicely connected. Obviously sounds are really nice. It's a Porsche flat six. There's nothing really much to complain about there. But yeah, they all meld together quite nicely, so there's no obvious kind of stitching going on in the sound, so there's no different samples kicking in and then sounding a bit odd, so it's all nice and smooth, which is good. Yeah, so solid stuff. Let's take a look at this beautiful car from the outside. That wing is it's like a TIE fighter, isn't it, with the curves at the top and the bottom. Looks good on track though. Looks very good on track. So Sam says you should put them all into one big race at the end. Now there's an idea. We could try that for sure. Look at that dancing out of there. Okay. What I said earlier on about the car's looks, I might just rescind that comment slightly, because on track it actually looks really good. That's cool. And there's that lower flat six rumble as well, which I was mentioning there. That sound from the outside is a lot more, yeah, much lower sound to it. So got that right. Okay, moving on. Next car in the GT1 Sports Club stable of cars to choose from this evening. It comes from Maranello, the prancing horse that is Ferrari. This is our next option, which is the FXX K. This is the later derivative of the FXX, which has the KERS ability on there, so there should be some electronic assistance with this particular car. So there's a regenerated battery which you can have to increase the horsepower of the particular car. So just a small number of 1,050 brake horsepower for this particular vehicle. So not much really, to be honest. I'm pretty sure this would be as tame as a Lada to drive. Right, so here we go. We've got the standard FXX program livery options available to you. This is obviously part of that XX program, whereby you buy the car, Ferrari keeps it at the factory and then takes it to whatever race circuit you want to go to, and then you just turn up and drive the thing. And they have special days where they have the Corsa Clienti, I think it is, where they put them on, they all get together and they race around tracks such as Monza and Imola and Mugello and others around the world. So yeah, very, very cool car. Lots of tech involved in this one. I'm actually going to grab this black with yellow one because I think that looks pretty nice. Let's check it out in the showroom, of course. Again, lovely details on this. I love the kind of little winglets on the back. It's not a full rear wing, it's just little winglets coming off the end plates. Everything is obviously very, very optimized on this car. There's just air everywhere. You've got little vents and things just to capture the air and spit it out in the places where it's not going to affect downforce too badly and so forth. I don't know whether this has got removable rear wing. I need to check that because I think this has like an air brake. So we'll see what that's like. We might have to go from an outside view to capture that. But looks very nice indeed. Right, let's get it on track and see what this thing is like. So Mike's quick review on the Indy mod was great. He was so happy he could barely communicate. Something Martin and Frankie talking about there. So yeah, earlier on, Pasonic, you were saying about the floaty feeling being down to the camera itself. So yeah, Frank says really is just the camera most focusable. Connect better once it's more fixed to the car. Good. Hey Tojo, welcome along. It says no 12 hours on iRacing today. No, not for me. I had the option to, but I wasn't able to commit to doing that all day. So I know Gareth and Dan are in there at the moment. I'm not sure how they're getting on, but hopefully they're keeping safe. Hey Todd, welcome along. Says, where would I find these mods besides the new Indy on Race Department? Yeah, so that's the only one that's on Race Department is the Indy car. The others, these ones that we've all driven so far have all been Project Cars Modding Team mods. So that's on the Project Cars Modding Team website, which you can find on Google. And then there's another one which we're going to be covering later on as well. So I shall cover that when we get there. Okay, here we go then. Fire up the V12. So yes, we can see on the right hand side there on our heads-up display underneath the fuel next to our Stone Cold tyres that there is a little battery symbol there, so that should mean that we have some electronics helping us. Let's pull out of the pit lane here. And let's take a look around the inside of the car as we do with everything else. There we go. There's that Ferrari steering wheel. And our engine start button on there and a little switch dial. Digital dash looks nice as well. Italian flag on the middle of the dash there. All the buttons aimed directly at the driver. And there's a passenger seat in there for those who really want to absolutely scare to death driving this thing around. So here we go then. It's just a quick sound check. It sounded a little bit odd when we pulled out of the garage, but let's have a listen. Mixture of sounds going on there, but let's go. It's an interesting sample. Okay. Let's wait till we get on track. These kind of cars don't normally like running low revs. Okay, now it sounds more like it. Let's see the battery draining as well on the right hand side. Just see if that refills when we hit the brakes as well at the end of the straight here, so let's keep an eye on that. Seventh gear, and hard on the brakes. Yep, battery is regenerating, so that's good. It's too busy looking at that rather than where I should be braking. It's an interesting mixture of sound going on there. Yeah, Tojo says it sounds strange. It does sound strange. I think it must be just down to the samples used, but obviously being a V12, it's very difficult to capture a V12 sound correctly because of the frequency at which the thing sings at. But you can kind of tell it's a V12 under there. It's just kind of hidden underneath some kind of audio noise, I suppose you could call it. You've got two sounds going on at the same time. So you've got the high pitch tones of the V12. You've also got a lower, more bassy sound going on underneath as well. It's interesting. It's a bit different, isn't it? Feel through the wheel is a lot heavier than the Porsche actually. Brakes are amazing. And again, plenty of poke as you'd expect. Didn't charge the battery too much on the brakes for the source then. I'm going to run out of battery soon. Better line through there. So probably not the right gear. Oops, again not paying attention to my braking point. It's not the line through Le Con. Promise. So Funky says, I assume Ferrari has exclusive license deals or just too much Verizon. Yeah, so I know there's been quite a few sims which have got Ferrari licensing available to them. I can imagine this would be quite expensive to license Ferrari as a brand for your particular title, but yeah, it might be a little bit out of reach for the Riser guys currently, but I think there are ways around doing that in the way of series licensing rather than actual vehicle licensing itself. I'm not sure about that though. So through the corners, This thing does feel very different to everything else actually so far. It's quite light around the centre of the steering. As soon as you start putting in a reasonable amount of steering, so I'm just kind of wiggling the steering wheel there, so down the straight, it's quite easy to do that. Then as soon as you get into the quick stuff like that, it really does load up on you. I think I'm getting used to the sound a little bit more now. It's maybe not quite what I was expecting straight out of the box, but I can kind of hear what they were going for with it. Let's just go outside for a moment here. See what it sounds like from out here. It's a very similar sound actually. Ooh, we have got movable aero, that's what I wanted to check. Look at that. Didn't know it actually moved with the steering. I just thought it was just for straight line and then braking. So it's currently in its DRS kind of position here with the wing all the way down, but then we hit the brakes, up it goes. Really helps with getting that nose down and getting the tyres squashed into the road. That's quite impressive actually, that they got that working. Lock up into there. So I know the FXX is sound-wise it is a little bit more that sounds quite tractory there, doesn't it? Lawnmower as Abel puts it, yeah. So it does have a slightly different tone to the original FXX, which I think is, for me, the best sounding of all the FX programmed cars. But yeah, this one does sound a little bit odd from inside. Let's just yeah, so maybe not quite the strongest on the sound department of this particular car then. Outside does sound a little bit odd as well. But full marks for the active aero on there as well, and the energy recovery of the KER system, which is an integral part of this particular car. Yeah, so from that angle it sounded okay. Brakes are glowing, as you normally see on these cars on the, the videos you see online. But yeah, so that's maybe not quite the strongest in the sound department. However, model-wise, the car looks really, really good. Driving-wise, yeah, it feels pretty good. It's quite different to drive than the other cars we've driven so far this evening, but it's quite a thing you have to hang on to, really. It's quite strong on the steering. But yeah, okay. Interesting. Let's try out the third and final one for the GT1 Sports Club, and then we'll move on to the next category of cars coming up next. So, okay, that's kind of, yeah, not sure about that one yet. Let's see what the Lambo does for us. Let's have a look at the liveries. So here we have obviously the current Lambo Racing Green, some orange on there. Nice collection of color options here. Depending on what you want, you can go for military spec matte green. We'll stick with the bright green for this one, I think. Quick look in showroom at this mad creation. So very functional rear end, just some lights and some very important aero pieces on the diffuser there. And this is just like a massive wedge, isn't it? It's just straight up over the top and no messing. Big Brembo brakes on the wheels there with some P0 tyres on it. A close-up detail shot there, but yeah, even the mirror supports are very angular, very functional looking, aren't they? What a mad thing this is. Right, 800 plus horsepower. I think I just saw on the screen there. 830 V12, of course. 6.5 litres. And let's see how this gets on. So Samuel says, sounds like Gran Turismo 5 engine. Yeah, that was a little underwhelming in the sound department, I fear. I mean, the elements are there. You can tell it's a V12. You can. There just seems to be a couple of the samples going on at the same time, which kind of contradicted each other a little bit. But hey, it's all good. I mean, I'm not saying I can do better. I'm not a sound engineer, but you know, I can kind of tell that's not quite there. But full marks to the guys for putting it in there anyway. So we have something to drive. We have an FXX K to drive an MS2, so we definitely can't complain with that regard. Let's have a look at the Lambo then. Oh my goodness, look at this cockpit. Let's have a look down here. Look at that steering wheel. It's not very round, is it? It's just like a rectangle with a screen in the middle, some dials, etc. And the vents on the dash there and things. Let's have a look down this side here. Again, we've got a passenger seat for terrifying, unwitting customers or clients, whatever. Yeah, cool looking interior once again. Right. Let's see what this V12 sounds like in comparison to the Ferrari V12. This is still all Project Cars modding team creations. Initial sounds quite quiet, but let's see. Now we can hear the V12. Just a little bit. There's a lot of other noise going on there as well, which, from what I can tell, must be just... It's quite a popping and banging type car, this one. Yeah, you can just hear it. There's a little pops and bangs from the exhaust. So let's give it the beans and see what happens. That's the V12 that I was kind of looking for in the Ferrari. A Lamborghini V12 usually sounds a little bit more raspy and aggressive and angry, and that certainly comes across with this one. Wow, okay. Good feedback on the curve there. This thing is just crazy, isn't it? Just enjoying the sound of this for the time being. So Samuel says, yeah, this sounds violent and angry. Yep, absolutely. Straight out of the box as well, it's feeling quite nice to drive too, even with the low tyre temps. It's just revs as well, doesn't it? What's it revving up to there? Nearly over 8,000 RPM. We'll be flat to Blanchement when we actually get ourselves brave enough to do so. It's for passengers film. There's a taxi like this in my town. Wow. And how much the fare is for that one. Todd says it's an army of cyborg wasps. Oh, this has so much more grip through erosion radial. Wow. So not so much power as the Ferrari. Certainly doesn't feel any slower though. The difference between this, of course, and the Ferrari and the Porsche is that this particular car has been made with the intention of going racing. The other two are really just track cars, really. Ferrari is a showcase of their technology and what they can do. The Porsche is a showcase of their design and offering something unique for the wealthy track day enthusiast to go out and enjoy on a cold October day at Alpine Park, for example. But this has been made by the guys at Squadra Corsa to be on track and racing, so you can really tell the difference. It's a lot sharper in its direction changes, it's sharper in its overall feel through the wheel as well. It just picks up and absolutely goes, isn't it? Right, launch off lap. Yeah, no problem. I mean, it's great being up in the high rev range and all, but when you come down into the low range, into the bus stop there, you can just hear this being a little bit more throaty and a little bit of detail going on there as well. This thing is brilliant. That's so good. Much more confident through Eau Rouge as well. Oh, it just puts a big smile on your face. So Frankie says about the taxis, actually a very cheap fare, but they charge £1,000 for being sick. Yeah, the cleaning expenses. Wow. Just look that run down through the rev range there. Okay, it's really good sounds until you get down to about, where is it? Stop the here, go into neutral. About 2,500 revs. That's when the engine changes and it doesn't sound V12ish anymore. Higher up, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever that you're in a V12 when you're actually moving, but I think when you get down to the low speed, the sound kind of transitions off into something else altogether. That's just an absolute assault on the senses, that is, isn't it? My goodness, what a noise. Okay, exterior sounds are really, really good. They're a bit louder than everything else, but I think this is probably quite a loud car anyway. Looks-wise of the car, it's probably not for everyone's fancy. I think it's a little bit too just mental. But yeah, that's a really fun car to drive. And yeah, that's pretty good. Right. Let's move on. We have more to test this evening. Okay. Well, that's I'm quite impressed with that, actually. That's pretty good. Right, moving on. And so we've tried the GT4 mod, which is the Alpine GT4. Scroll on down a little bit further, and you get to this little icon right here, which is the IndyCar Series. Now, this is the latest of the latest in the IndyCar Series. You've got the 2023 liveries, I believe. So you can see here there's different cars to choose from, but what it is it's the teams that you're choosing here. So rather than having one car and then you go in and select all the liveries, you've actually got multiple different cars. I believe the cars' chassis are all the same. I'm not sure if there's a difference in engine manufacturer. We've got Honda, we've got Chevrolet as well. Not sure whether that's... yeah, that's Chevrolet. So might have some different engines on there, but they should both be same horsepower, 680 horsepower on there. So yeah, so you find your particular team that you like, and then you can go into the livery option here, and then you can select which of the cars you want to use. So quite a few different teams on here. Obviously, Penske is a well-known name in the IndyCar world. I've got Scott McLaughlin's car there, as you can see. And at the top of it was Andretti Autosport as well, another big name. There's Roman Grosjean's car, etc. So yeah, all the liveries look really good. This, of course, is the road version of the IndyCar. So we have the road aero on there, and we have the aero screen as well, which is their version of the halo, essentially. So rather than just being a single strong piece of carbon fiber going up the middle, you have a perspex shield around the outside as well. So it's very much like a fighter pilot cockpit. Okay, well let's jump into one of these cars then. We'll jump in one of the Aero McLarens, I think, shall we? I don't know any of the drivers, and too many of the drivers on here, so not sure whose car this is, but we shall go with this one. Let's take this to a suitable IndyCar version of the circuit, shall we? Let's go to Laguna Seca, shall we? Why not? Here we are, Laguna Seca. We'll go test this thing out. So 7 below says, can the modded cars be raced online? That's a good question. We'd have to test that. I don't know whether that's possible or not, but obviously everyone will have to have the mods installed to be able to join the server, so I don't know whether you can set it up as an online server. It'd be worth a try. Because if anyone fancies a go in any of these cars, we can probably set something up. Funky says, have Lamborghini ever done a stylish car? They're all brutal to me. I don't know, some of them are quite nice. I mean, the Miura is pretty subtle, really, for Lamborghini's terms. Right. Dusk at Laguna Seca. Oh, thanks, Just, for answering that question. Yes, they can race online. There you go. Right. So here we are. We're in the cockpit of the IndyCar. We've got the camera above us there. You can see. If I guess I can just look out the cockpit there. Clouds are moving fast. Let's have a look down here. So, yep. Steering wheel's nice. It's very very modern looking steering wheel. And I say that because most steering wheels nowadays look very much like the same thing. So what the Gomez wheels have been modelled on, very similar kind of style to them. So the big chunky grips and then the same kind of button and wheel layout and things. So very typical modern looking steering wheel. Not much to see out of the sides other than the head protection there. But let's sound check. V6 of course in this thing. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Right, let's go out on track and see what this thing is like. Look at the sun on the details on the dash there as well. Okay, this is big because, before we get into this properly, we're due to have a version of this car from Ryzen themselves. I know they're working on a few things in the background. And that was due to be released with one of the previous USA packs that we've had, but it hasn't arrived yet. So we have this in form of a modded version of this particular car. So now we can actually put it to use. Now obviously we don't have the oval version, so we're limited to road layouts. Well, in terms of aero anyway. But this is big, so let's see what this is like, because this is going to be interesting, because when the Rise one does actually come out properly, it'll be interesting to see what they're like back to back. But here we go. Let's pick up the pace. It sounds pretty good. Sounds very good indeed, in fact. Right. Sun glare on the track here. Let's see what happens on the screen. Now obviously this is going to be a very different car to drive in comparison to everything else we've driven so far this evening. And already it feels pretty good. The force feedback is actually pretty exceptional actually already. A very good feeling of the car being attached to the road. Gear change is quite violent on the sounds. That's sunshine. That was ambitious. Trying to turn it in now at that speed, but it survived. Feel it load up through the corners. Yes, good point, Marty. There is push to pass on this thing, so we have the blue bar there. I haven't. I'm not sure if I got it enabled on the as a button actually. I don't think I got one mapped. This drives really nicely. Okay, not so quick this time through here. We can still go pretty quick. Downforce, of course. Oh, yeah. It's starting to pick up the pace a bit now. Well, guys, I can see what all the hype is all about with this particular car. Now, regulars on the channel will know that I'm not normally a single-seater specialist or indeed a fan. It's not my go-to for driving of cars, but even I can appreciate that this is a very nice car to drive indeed. Honestly, thought I was going to clip that sausage curve then, but somehow missed it. It's okay. Honestly, the load through the corners is quite enormous. You start steering with your shoulders a little bit actually, rather than just your hands. See what it's like if you get a little bit trigger happy with the throttle. The quicker corners, obviously, you can get away with it more because you have downforce on your side. Slower corners, you have to be a little bit wary of how much throttle you apply. Look at that, we've got some cloud in front of the sun there, which has taken away that sun glare. How cool is that? It's amazing. We're going to revisit this obviously as we go. We'll try and get through some of the other mods so we can show you guys what they're like. But yeah, Funky, you're right. The hype is real about this. It's I mean, look at it. Maybe not look at it right now. You can look at it. I mean, that's an exceptional job, to be honest. I mean, the sounds are really good. They're nice and neat. The car looks really nicely modelled. It's pretty much spot on as far as I can tell. Handling-wise, it's sublime. It's really, really good. I mean, you've got a nice mixture of high downforce grip, and you have low speed corner precariousness of trying to get the power down, because it is still a very powerful car. Flames shooting out the back there. But yeah, I mean that's a really special car to drive, that one. But even when it does snap sideways like that, you can actually control it quite nicely as well. So it's quite a flamethrower, isn't it? It's just chucking flames down the back. That is really cool. And I think personally, for me, that drives nicer. This is going to be really controversial. That drives nicer than the former USA cars. I know it's different eras, and this thing should technically have more. I mean, that's so good. It should have more grip, I suppose, because of technological advancements in aero and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think just driving feel on the road, it feels better than the former USA cars. That's super impressive. That's really, really impressive. We'll try that at some other circuits as well later on, I think. We'll revisit that one for sure. Okay, well, we're only partway through this, guys. There's still more to show you. The upshot I found of it so far is I was just massively wrong when it comes to not installing mods earlier, and I'm kicking myself for not doing so, because there's some good stuff out there. Right, let's move on. Carry on down our list here. What's next on the list here? So we have street cars, and we have street cars B. Now this is going to be full of a few other vehicles. Now there's a lot to go through here. I don't know how much we'll explore this, but there's a lot more street car type cars available on AMS2 with the aid of mods. So in here we have a Ferrari 430 Scuderia, we have a 458 Italia, we have some Porsches as well. So we have a 911 GT3 2018. This is a 997 spec car, I believe. We have a 992 spec GT3, and then we have the 911 GT3 Touring, which is basically an H-pattern version of the 997. The other one was a 7-speed sequential. And we have a touring version of the 992. We have the Ford GT, old school Ford supercar. We have a Ford Shelby GT500, a Jaguar XE SV Project 8, very obscure car, that one. A Lexus LFA, and then we have a couple of Rocket Bunny cars in there as well. So we have the RX7 with a Rocket Bunny body kit on it, and a Silvia S15 as well, and a Dodge Viper SRT10. So yeah, there's a lot to jump through here. So we're going to try and do this as quick as we can, and we'll just work our way through them. So let's go to a suitable circuit here for these cars. Well, it's not necessarily suitable, but I'm going to go there anyway. Let's go to Alton Park Classic here. We'll run these as a track day. Yeah, so that is absolutely right. Samuel, right. Amazing was the word for the IndyCar. Really, really good. Abel says, was it difficult to get this mod running? No, is the short answer to that. It's not a simple drag and drop where you just pick up the folder, put it into the AMS2 vehicle folder, and off you go. It's a little bit more involved than that. But once you get used to the process of how to do it, it's quite straightforward. So basically all you got to do is you got to download the car. You've got to download a content manager type thing, which is all part of the README notes for the install. You extract the car files to the right place in the MS2 folder. You then have to update a couple of text files with some vehicle notes and some driveline powertrain stuff in there. And then you have to activate the base mark. There's a few steps and things that you need to do. So it is explained on the README files for the cars, so you can follow it through that way. But there is a little bit of a process to follow. Right, Ferrari 430, a bit of an older Ferrari, this one. Let's see what this thing's like. Let's go down to the Sunshine here at Alton Park in Cheshire and take a good look around. So here we go. Of course, the Ferrari steering wheel, of course. Rest of the interior looks nice, carbon fibre everywhere. Yeah, dials look good. We're in race mode, so all good. Right, this sounds a little bit more like it. This should be a V8 in this particular car. So yeah, let's see how this is on track. Ooh, all of a sudden, I feel like I've got no force feedback after driving that IndyCar. It's just lighter, that's all. Probably should have left that IndyCar to last. So Samuel says, referring to the IndyCar, how does it compare to the RFX2 one? To be honest, I haven't driven the RF2 one enough to draw any kind of proper comparison with that, unfortunately. I'll have to revisit that. Brakes! There's our first off of the evening. Proper off anyway. Let's go back to the pit box. Try that again. Let's recalibrate my brain to something that's not a high-spec single-seater. High-spec for the engine there. Can I do it again? No. It's just a one-off. Some traction control though. I like the rev lights on the steering wheel as well. It's very cool. Wow, there's not much braking going on with this thing. So Jessica said, are you going to try Sugo? Not tonight. This was just more focusing on the cars themselves. We might look at some tracks in a future stream or video as well. But I did see that Sugo is there. And a couple of other tracks as well. So this is back on the Project Cars modding team train of vehicles. Oh, hello. I guess I should pay more attention to the road, I guess. It's not a place you would normally spin. Okay, well, sound-wise, this sounds more like it. This is a proper V8. It's a flat plain crank V8. And the Scuderia is supposedly the more focused of the 430 family, and being that it's the pinnacle of that particular model of car. This feels very wayward. So just as oval version of the IndyCar are in the pipeline, that's good, because we can test those out properly on Indy and Gateway and Fontana, etc. So Funky says, nice to see H-pattern cars. Hope to see more vintage mods come out though. This thing has no brakes. I know it's a road car. Oh no, I've just damaged a very expensive road car for the second time running. That has no brakes. And I don't think it was tyre temp related either, but it's just... Maybe I just need to lean on them a bit more. Yeah, so about the vintage side of things, so I've been checking out a few mods recently from a modding team called Historic Sim Studios. They do ones for Assetto Corsa, lots of really vintage stuff on there, so 20s, 30s and earlier even as well in some cases. I do believe they are working on something for AMS2. I can't remember what exactly it was, but it will probably be more down the vintage line of things than we've currently got in AMS2, so looking forward to seeing what comes from there. There's some TC kicking in there as well. So Abel says, I've actually sat in one of these. The sound is spot on. Oh, there we go. Insider knowledge there from Abel. Excellent. I would hope that the one that you sat in had nicer to use brakes than this one. Because I cannot keep it on in a straight line when I'm braking. Okay, well, let's take a look at the car from the outside when it's actually on the track rather than off the track. Model-wise, it looks good again. Sounds good too. Yeah. The 430 Scud is a nice-looking car, isn't it? It's a bit twitchy going into the old hall there, but there we go. And off we went. Okay, well, a little bit more of a difficult thing to keep a hold of, that one. We'll move on. It was okay. I think if you got used to it after a while, you could probably retrain your brain to brake earlier. But, oh man, time is not on our side this evening with a number of cars we have to try. Right, 458 Italia, a little bit newer. I'll stick with Alton Park International as well. Kejuan says, how does the pedals feel? The pedals feel great. I have a new brake hydraulic cylinder coming soon. There's something which we've identified together with Acertech, which I'm feeling through the brakes, which isn't quite right, and they are sending a new hydraulic cylinder to me to test it out and make sure that that's going to be feeling better. So it's basically when I'm coming off the brake pedal, there's like a sticky pop kind of a sound and feel, which isn't right. So and they're aware of that as well, so that hopefully will fix the issue. But other than that, they're really, really good. I have no dramas with the pedals whatsoever. Right, well, that was an interesting starter sound there, which I'm not sure is how it would normally sound from standard. Let's have a quick look around the interior of the 458. Again, nicely detailed, very typically Ferrari. And you have the more modern looking vents on there, which you see in the 458 and 488 as well. Okay. This again is also V8. It'll be a flat plane crank V8 like the 430, slightly different exhaust obviously on the 458. Wow, this is even lighter on the steering than the 430. I do like the yellow rev gauge in the middle of the dash there. Just take this a little bit easier. Very different sound to it, this thing. It's a little bit twitchy too. So as you'd expect with a Ferrari of such caliber, there's no shortage of straight line ability. Let's go on the brakes early for Nick Brook here. Okay, feel like it could be a little bit more capable than the 430 was. I look forward to be a little bit braver next time round. Not into there though. Saying hello to the fire marshal. We've had to park next to him. So yeah, it's a very different sound. So if you've driven this car in anything else, like I said, a Porsche, for example, the sound will be very different to what you're used to. You can tell it's a flat plane V8, but a lot of noise distortion on the engine note as well, so that kind of maybe masks some of the sounds that you would expect to hear on or off. What I will notice as well with this particular car is the steering wheel is a lot lighter in terms of its feel to the wheel. You also don't feel quite as much of the road underneath you. It feels a little bit more disconnected. I mean, it's hard to say because over the bumps here at Alpine Park there are a lot of little bumps which are upsetting the rear end of the car, and you can feel it through the wheel. It's just when you turn in, there's just not really much there. Going along in a straight or a reasonably straight line, you come out of here, you can feel the little details. Like the bumps just kind of knocking you off course slightly. But it's the turn in which just feels non-existent. So it's kind of, it's got the little details, but it seems to be missing the higher, stronger details. So okay, let's just quickly just see what it's like if we can get a bit crazy with it through Druids here. Yeah, so you can feel the weight transfer on oversteer, but you just can't feel anything on turning. Interesting one, that one. Let's carry on. Alright. So road cars obviously aren't going to be everyone's favourite thing to drive anyway. If you're going to be in a racing sim, most people prefer to be in race cars themselves, but it's also good sometimes to have the road cars so you can say, well, if you fancy driving a supercar and you never have the opportunity to do so, you can do it in sim. So yeah, it's available for those who want to do it. It may not be for everyone, but let's have a look at the 911 here. So again, variety of different colour options. We're just going to stick with the blue for this one. So this is the sequential version of this particular car. 493 brake horsepower, standard Porsche flat six engine. So let's have a look. Let's see how this one goes. So how many mods do you have for AMS2? Downloaded a whole load today, and I can't remember the exact figure of them, but it's probably 10 to 15, I think. But there's variants of each. Right, 911. Is that a reflection I can see in the gauges there? It is, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. You can see the reflection of the garage door on the gauges, which is very cool. Yeah, interior looks really nice actually on this one. In fact, it's probably even better detail than on the Ferraris. Okay, let's go take this one out. See what the brakes are like on this thing. Straight away, I can feel there's more steering input than the Ferrari. Has a speed limiter as well. Again, just build up here because we have no tyre temperatures. Ooh, this one's a little more wayward. Stay on track. It's a little bit of grass touching going on the outside there. Understeer on the exit from Shell Oil's happen as well. Got a bit going on through the fast stuff too. Very, very rapid indeed, 150 mile an hour over the top of hilltop. Gravel stopped me. No, it didn't. Hopefully we're okay, not too damaged there. something's broken there. I'm not. I'm going to go back to the pits just in case, because I want to ruin the feel of it if I'm driving around with a completely broken car. So I told you this sounds like a V8. Is this referring to the 911 here? On low revs, more boxer with speed. Oh, I assume me on idle, yeah. Does sound very V8ish on idle. Bit of a deeper, more throaty flat six sound on this thing. Again, bursting into wheel spin over the bumps here at Auckland Park. This time, let's go stop for Knickerbrook this time. Let's get on my brakes. Didn't get on the brakes early enough. I was going to tell myself to do so, and I didn't. Don't touch the wall. We're good. Some slightly dirty tyres, that's all. This one's quite feisty. Again, it's got TC on there as well, so it's interfering slightly. Okay, so yeah, force feedback wise, better than the 458. Again, I'm treating it like a GT3 car with no brakes. Yeah, so force feedback wise, better than the 458. Sounds are, yeah, they're okay, they're reasonable. Interior looks really nice, model looks really good as well. And again, just road car type driving experience there. So it's lacking in certain areas where you think, you know, you can jump on the brakes and stand on them quite hard, because modern Porsches like this have got really good brakes, especially if they've got carbon ceramics on them. But even then, that wasn't stopping very well. So, 911 GT3 192 spec. We'll jump on track with this one. This is the later edition of the 911, or the latest edition of the 911. So looking at that, I don't know if that's quite right, because isn't the latest GT3 really aggressive looking? It has like vents and stuff all over the place. Or am I thinking of the GT2? So again, looking down, steering wheel's really cool there. Gauges are nice. You can see the carpeting texture on the floor down there, and on the inside of the door, some good textures as well. Right. Slightly different version of the 911, so again, not just a copy-paste from the previous iteration. Copy-paste of the brakes though. It's okay, we'll skip out and we'll come through this way. Wow, that TC is really aggressive. Let's I figure out how to turn that off. I'm pretty sure, have I got it set to the... Oh look, I've actually got it set to one of mine. Oh, there we go. I do. I keep forgetting I have these set. So now we have zero traction control whatsoever, so I need to be careful with my right foot. Okay, so now I remember to get on the brakes earlier, and we're making some more of these corners. We have the traction control turn off as well. This is feeling a little bit better, so let's go for a full lap of Alpine Park here. Yeah, so you're feeling a lot of the weight of the car, you're feeling a lot of the transitions between snapping from oversteer to correcting the other way. Initial turn-in is there on this one. You can kind of feel it's still quite light, but you will have power steering in these cars as standard anyway, so there might not be really heavy steering anyway, so that's not too bad. Alright, this time get on the brakes from here, guarantee to make through this particular corner. So 911s are all about trail braking systems. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I need to make sure I do that. Just over the crest there, you can feel the cargo light on the rear. It's too late. Okay, and that's not too bad. I mean, yeah, I mean it drives reasonably well. Once you get used to the actual dynamics of the car, anyway. So probably should have started off with the road cars, really. But here we are. Work through it. Yeah, we got those to get through here. So I'm not gonna do the H pattern versions of those same cars because it's gonna be more the same. So we'll jump on to the next one here, which is the Ford GT. So this is the recreation of the old GT40 for the modern day. Well, I say modern day, it's probably 2005 kind of vintage. So it's actually taller than a GT40, which is not surprising really, because you've got to make it accessible for people to get into. But yeah, so this was very much a brute force type supercar. V8, of course. So again, quick look around. So we have the nice interior here. We have those typical GT type seats there with the vents in them. Very cool. Right. Ooh. We have some sample crossovers there, which make it a bit different for the. Oops, I'm going to use the H band here. Don't quite knit together as well as some others, but this sounds very much like the V8 supercar. Very much like it. Just going for a spin in these supercars, quite literally. So, sorry, I've missed your message, Basonic. It says, will Historic Nords be coming out this year for AMS2? Yes. I think it's not going to be too far off in the future, actually, before we start seeing that. Wow. Again, brakes are an issue with this car as well. As a snap oversteer like that. Okay, well that's a bit on the tricky side. Try once more. So I told you something about the 911 being all about trail braking, almost like a front-wheel drive, until it really isn't. Yeah, it's a very important thing to get right with 911s. there's just no brakes at all. Even with cold tyres, the thing should stop better than that. Gonna move on. That's very difficult to get that thing slowed down. I mean, it picks up obviously very quickly because of the engine of the thing, and it's always going to pick up a lot of pace, but you got to be able to stop it too. Okay. Ford Shelby GT500. This is one of the modern era Ford Mustangs. Again, this is all Project Cars modding team stuff. This one, 7-speed sequential in a Mustang, apparently. Okay. I'll put the H pattern away for a bit longer. We will be using it later, though, I promise. Right. Again, look around. Details are there as well. You've got the screens on the dash, etc. Got the vents closed for extra power because we're not using the AC. Alright, big folds on the bonnet there. This sounds very much like the supercar as well. In fact, it sounds pretty much identical to the Super V8. Just as leery as well. Yeah, this is the first one that we've come across, really. This and the Ford GT, which has noticeably reused some of the riser sounds. And it's not exactly the same. There are some additional popping and banging noises going on, but the main engine sound itself is very recognisable. So feedback on this one, it does have some strength to it, but it also feels quite wobbly, or maybe lacking in power in the force feedback department anyways. This one does at least have brakes. So Funky says 7 gears here, so yeah, I told you. Well, we'll double check. Get through Old Hall safely. Let's go all the way through to 7th gear just to prove it has them. There it is. Not quite sure you ever need that on track. You probably wouldn't even get anywhere near 7th gear, but good for cruising and saving fuel, which is what Mustangs are all about, obviously. So out of all the street cars in this section, even though this one is quite wild in the oversteer department, it's probably one of the most drivable ones that we've had so far in terms of being able to get around the track. You can stand on the brake pedal and it will slow down. Still not amazing, but then it's just a Mustang basically. It's not a race car, and we shouldn't treat it as such. But well, it still does need a little bit longer to stop than that. All right. So yeah, force feedback on that one felt a little bit weak in some regards, but also on the oversteer side of things, when you are sliding, you do feel it, and you can kind of throw it around and catch it a little bit. But yeah, again, it's that initial turn-in which is missing something. Kristanos, welcome Kristanos. It says Voodoo 5.3 litre V8, basically a race engine. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from there. Known for cooling issues. Oh, okay. Well, we didn't run it long enough for any cooling issues. 3 gears are more than enough for anyone, says Basani. Yeah, why do you need any more than 3 gears? Right, Jaguar XE Project 8. This is a special vehicles project from Jaguar. Yeah, using the XE chassis and basically turning into a track day car. So you basically have more power, have 592 brake horsepower, some holes drilled into your bumper for lightweight, a wing on the back, splitter on the front, some bigger brakes, and some stickers on the side, and off you go. It's time to go racing. Yeah, unusual car, this one. Very, very different. Not one you'd find in a lot of sims, that's for sure. Let's see how this one deals with Alton Park. So Cristiano says, Rise is releasing mod tools for the game. Yes, they are. They are indeed. Oh, look at that. You can even see the car on the dash. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. Let's have a quick look over to the passenger side. Yep, not too bad at all. Right. Let's see what this thing is like. So Frankie says, if you got to 7th, you need 2 miles to brake. Yeah. No kidding. Alright, very different V8 sound on this one. So Cristiano says, the greatest modern Jag. Project 8 and Project 7. Yes, they are very good, aren't they? When Jaguar went a little bit crazy in the design department before they started focusing on EVs. Frankie says, I wanted to see the Gaffer's Jag UK telly reference. The Jag. So what's... Still crashing. There are some of these cars which are competing in the UK in the motorsport scene. So there's a series which was initially created to get people into motorsport, and then that was a standalone series by itself. Has now become a class within the Brit car series. So there's a few of them running around where they actually turn these cars, which are actually road cars, but they actually turn them into race cars with the help of Jaguar themselves. So that was quite a project. Light it up a little bit out of there. So it's good. I like the reflections in the windscreen as well. You can just see them flickering in the light there. Second gear is quite short, isn't it? You go down the gears and all of a sudden you get into second gear and it really revs it up. Okay, well so far this is actually not too bad. I know I've had one little excursion by going too quickly through there, but so far this one's not driving too badly at all. The Druids. Yeah, okay. This one's not bad. I mean, there's some sounds which I'm not quite crossing over, but actually no, it's not too bad. Again, force feedback is light. It's a road car with power steering, but you do get an understanding of what's going on underneath you as well. It has more bite on turning, so you have a connection to the road, which is good. But yeah, it sounds pretty good. It's quite a deep, raspy car. It's very twitchy too. It sounds good from the outside too. Alright, that's quite good. So that's a good one to test out if you wanted to give that a go. Let's move on. Right, next one down. The LFA. So Lexus's kind of supercar, I suppose. This thing has a V10, 552 brake horsepower. Quite a cool looking design as well on the Lexuses when they started really making the designs very aggressive. Looks like the window's been cut out rather interestingly on that model there. But okay, Lexus steering wheel on there. Yep, interior looks pretty good. Now, not sure of the sound here. Hang on a second. This is a V10, right? That does not sound like a V10, I'm afraid. I mean, it revs high. But yeah, that sound is, from what I remember of hearing this car, it's not quite there. It's certainly got a lot of pace in a straight line. Right, get on the 2-mile braking strip into third gear. Again, still can't get it stopped for Druids. Okay, let's have a listen to that from the outside, because if it's just the interior sounds that sound like that, then okay. But let's see if it sounds like a V10 from the outside. Let's get to where we actually drive it. Sounds a bit more like it now. We've got the active air on the rear end, the wings popped up. No, I don't think that's quite right. I think I think that's not the sound, I'm afraid. Handling wise it was okay-ish. But yeah, unfortunately the sound just kind of ruins that a little bit. That's a shame, because I was looking forward to seeing what that was going to be like. Yeah, disappointed says Christanos. Yeah, that is a bit disappointing. Okay, move on. Okay, this one's one where sound might make a difference. This is an RX7, which of course has a rotary engine in it. Let's see how this sounds, because I don't think we haven't had a rotary in AMS2 before, so let's see if we can achieve that very unique sound of a rotary engine here. Yeah, Terje, yeah, so what I was saying earlier, I couldn't do it better myself because I'm no sound engineer, but yeah, it doesn't sound right at all. So Funky says, how come dashboards have got so bad these days? I don't know. It's got the rotary not starting thing going down, right? lot of vibration as well here. Right, let's give it the sound check. Low revs doesn't sound like a rotary really. Let's have a quick interior check. Nice Momo steering wheel, plastic dashboard of course. Right. Nice gearbox sounds. This is also very light on the steering side of things. Now this car, I don't think, not sure if it actually has, it might have power steering I suppose, but it might not be the same as most modern power steering systems, so it should have at least some feel of weight, but there really isn't. Now you can obviously change that by updating your FFP settings within the game itself, but you shouldn't have to do that. It should be set to the right kind of level. So all of these cars are struggling with the bumps here at Alpine Park. But it doesn't sound rotary to me. It sounds kind of bike engine-ish. Still not getting it through turrets. Yeah, again, it's another slight disappointment really, because rotary engines have a very unique sound to them. Let's just check it from the outside. Yeah, no, it's not the sound we're looking for. And yeah, I don't know, none of these road cars are really sticking out to me in terms of driving feel. Something doesn't feel quite right with them. We're going to try the next one down here, which is the Sylvia, but I suspect this could be more of the same here. But we'll see. We'll not reserve that judgment until later. Yeah. So the street car pack maybe, yeah, a little underwhelming so far. I mean, probably the shining ones from there would be the Jag and maybe the 992 Porsche. Right, this is the S15. Working boost gauge on the pillar there. Let's have a quick look around. We're a right-hand drive in this one. Okay. Again, I mean, can't fault any of the interiors and the models themselves. They all look really good. There's some of the driving dynamics and the sounds which let these particular cars down a little bit. And obviously the thing with these Rocket Bunny ones is that they are kind of what modern day tuning companies like to do, which is put a outrageous body kit on and then just slap a whole load of camber on it. Doesn't necessarily mean it handles amazingly, but it's designed for looks really rather than drivability. Frankie says, at least I'm on a proper dash though. So Turgis said, I drove back an RX8 today. It's funny how small it looked today. It felt big when it was new. Nightmare to own. Couldn't handle the driving from home to the store. Oh no. So Sergio says, 2 best mods. So far, for me, the IndyCar is up there in one of the 2 slots. And the other best mod so far, I'd say, was the Lamborghini Essenza. the mad GT1 car that we drove earlier on. Those are the two. This one has damage. We just had to test that. Yeah, I mean, that was... I know we only did one lap there and it was on cold tyres, but yeah, I don't know. Didn't really float my boat, that one. I mean, engine sounds are... Yeah, they're okay. But not amazing. Right, last one in this pack then, and we'll move on to something else. So this is the Dodge Viper SRT10, another V10 engine car. Now I'm curious to see if this has the same issue as the LFA, which had problems with its V10 engine. I wonder if that's the same. So Cristiano says, SRB, are you going to hop on ACC when the new GT3 come? In my current setup, probably not. Partly because my current PC setup is not capable of running ACC particularly well on its own, let alone streaming or recording it. However, as I mentioned earlier on, there is some very real potential for the next couple of weeks or so that PC could be updated so we can actually do that better. Okay, this is a Viper, okay, so when you get into a Viper and you fire it up, you know, a V10 sound, it's a low, deep V10 sound. It's not the high revving stuff like you get with the R8 or the Huracan Lambo. It's more of a deep, husky V10. This sounds like... I don't even know what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like a Viper. No, that's completely wrong. I'm sorry. It sounds like a Caterham. That's what it sounds like. I was looking forward to seeing if that was the case, but obviously V10s have some kind of issue because that's two V10s which have now not had the correct sound to them. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to drive it any further. I mean, it might handle well, but I think just the sound will just put you off. Yeah, that's why I asked about the two best. The Indy was a bit given. Yeah, it is. That is very special. Right, let's move away from that pack because that was very, very underwhelming. So you have also a track day pack, which is the same cars we just were in before, but I suspect maybe some slightly different handling to them. So we won't worry about that one just now. What we are going to go have a look at is this. Now, this is the third of the modding teams that we'll be looking at this evening, which is the VRC cars. So virtual racing cars have created a couple of mods for AMS2, and these are not official, obviously. So as you got here, they got the Oriole 90 GTO, which is howdy, and then we have the Chevrette, which is very, very cool. So these are very old school IMSA GTO cars that we have in AMS2, and VRC usually do a really good job of their mods. So let's see what these are like. Livery selections here. We have a selection of kind of fake lookalike Audi liveries, HKS livery one there as well, which is pretty cool. So let's jump into this. Take a look at the car here as well before we jump on track. So big wide arches on it, two-tier element rear wing, aero wheels, pretty mad looking thing. Let's load it up. Let's go take this to somewhere suitable. Let's go to Road America for this one, I think. So Frank says Dyson vacuum V10 power. Yeah. So insert generic sim engine sound. Zip, hi Zip. Hi. He says, hello, you should contact the modder on YouTube. Did you work? He made great GT3 and other GT1 pack. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, if you can help out with the sounds on those, that would be helpful. Defense Foster, welcome along, says AMS1 better than AMS2. Shock face. Yeah, well, there are still people who prefer AMS1 over 2, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I mean, AMS1 was very, very good. But I really like AMS2 as well. I think it works well. Kristanos says, Audi does not have inline 5 noise. It has a 4-cylinder turbo noise. Suspension of belief. Since Yota ran a turbo 4-cylinder, so I can give it a pass. Okay. Yeah, so someone said, old school says funky. Yeah, this is more your kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, so I have driven this car beforehand, and that was one of the things I was going to point out, because in my mind this should have a 5-cylinder engine, which is very similar to a V10 sound. Same kind of bank of cylinders, just halved. But this also doesn't have a 5-cylinder engine, which if you drive it in iRacing, if you drive it in, if there's anything else that it has it in, Race Room for example, it has that 5-cylinder turbo, which is mean and really, really cool. But this one has the wrong engine sound. But we will drive it, because I want to see what this is like. So let's have a look at the interior as well here. It's a very basic steering wheel. Shush. That's a nice rip-off brand. That's the Aldi version of Bosch, I think. So yeah, so you've got the very functional dials on the dashboard there. Let's take this out. So this should have 4-wheel drive. Okay, again, cold tyres, build up slowly. Slowly-ish. Crystal says, in an alternate universe, I believe that Audi had a turbo 4-cylinder instead of a 5. Yeah. Technically, this isn't officially an Audi 90 GTO, so I suppose you can kind of pass that off. Again, lovely texturing on the inside here on the carbon fibre. You can just see the shadows of the window net there as we went past the tunnel, the bridge. Now this thing, even with its wrong sounds, has a bit more drivability about it. Through the carousel, find that final curve on the inside and then unleash the power. Little dab of brakes for the kink here. Won't be flat out with this thing. Brakes. I know this is an old car. Shouldn't be expecting too much of it. So worth mentioning at this point, these ones are available from Virtual Racing Car's website themselves, and I think they're available as they're basically a paid mod, basically, so a little bit towards downloading it, like $4.99 or something like that. So bear that in mind when you're looking at these particular mods. They're not just ones you just download and off you go. Right, okay. So let's try and get a lap together of this thing. A clean lap. Right. Where are we braking for turn 1 here, Road America? I'm just going to brake super early. Four-wheel drive system helping me out there with a bit of right foot to help correct the slide. You really can get out of a lot of trouble with them. So Cristanos says the AC versions of these are fantastic. Yes, this is also available for Assetto Corsa. But yeah, force feedback feels good. So you get a good connection with the road. So these cars really are quite a brutal thing to drive. does feel that way in the ARS 2, so there's a bit of a handful. I just wish that it was a 5-cylinder sound. It's such a shame. That's the only thing that's really holding these things back. Just floating into that corner a bit too quick. Hey, the quad says, my 102-year-old grandmother could drive faster. Well, probably could. I'm not exactly covering myself in glory at the moment either. But these are quite very different cars to drive. But this one, being four-wheel drive, is quite forgiving actually. You can get away with a lot of stuff, even with running into corners a little bit too quickly. Speed building down here, 175 mile an hour before we get on the brakes for the turn 3. Again, it's just not stopping very well. Need to get on the brakes much earlier. But yeah, as far as a car to drive and chuck around, it's good fun. But yeah, it's just that reservation of the sound which is just one that holds this thing back. But everything else about the car is really, really good. So driving physics, force feedback, and yeah, no, it's really, really good. Okay, let's check out the other one, the other part of the VRC pack, which is the Chevrolet, which is this one. I've got school banded livery on this one, so there are a couple of retro liveried on here as well, which is pretty cool. But we will run with this one. So this one is an IMSA spec car, 600 brake horsepower from its V8. We'll run it around Road America as well, and yeah, see how this one in comparison is. So you can't really get a V8 wrong, I'd hope. So this should be a nice, deep, burbly, raw sounding V8 is what I'm hoping for here. Frank says, is that a what? Never heard of it. So Christina says, you usually get back in AC SRB. Yeah, I mean, I do run a bit of AC in the background. I don't tend to stream it or record it very often, again, down to PC limitations, but that will change. But I do run it in the background. It is definitely one that I drive quite frequently. Right. Okay. Promising signs from the sound department as we fire this thing up then. Let's have a quick look down and see what we're looking at here. So we're very close to the steering wheel here. It's like right on us. Don't see much of the dash, but it is very, very functional with some big metal bars going across and some big gauges, some exposed wiring, etc. And then the strengthening bars running up the windscreen there. Very limited view out of the front here. Let's see how this thing gets on the track. So Cristiano says to try the new GP2 car by VRC. Shall have to give that a try. Okay. Yeah, that's the noise I was looking for. Okay, that sounds good. Ooh, that's cool. So I mentioned before about the reflections in the windscreen as well. So here, because you've got the carbon fibre dash in front of us there, it's like a fake dash, and then you've got the firewall in front of you. But between that, there must be some wiring, because you can see some blue and yellow wiring just reflecting in the windscreen there. That's pretty cool. Right. Unleash the power of the V8. Sounds good down to the gears. Yeah, this is a little bit more edgy on the rear end. Obviously no four-wheel drive to pull us out of trouble in this one. That sounds good. And this one has a good weight through the wheel as well. It's just trying to burst into wheel spin at every possible opportunity. Very satisfying hitting and towing down through the gears in this one. Wayward on the throttle there. That was way too late on the brakes. Oh, I thought it was tarmac, but it's not, it's gravel. I don't know if it has a supercharger. I don't think so. I think it's just a naturally aspirated V8. Not sure on that one, Tojan. Sounds like it have a supercharger, but I think that's just transmission wire. So Funky said, okay, I take it all back. Some sort of dash is needed. Yeah, there's not much on this one. It's very functional again, but you're sat quite, well, the field of view is quite far forward in this one, so you don't really see much of the dash. There is a dash there, it's just very basic. So, Sonic says the future bodes well for AMS2 mods. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's good that there's options available for people to mod vehicles in, and there are some good ones available already, despite the limitations of the engine. Yeah, this one's a good mod. This is worth picking up, this one. If you like your old school sports cars. This one is nice. Hooked up on the curb on the inside there, power out a little kink. It does dance around a little bit as well, so you have to manhandle it through the corners a little bit. Yeah, this one is very nicely done indeed. I like it a lot. Okay, let's have a look and watch that back via the trackside cameras. Look how cool that looks. Big old Camaro. It's really nice on track as well. This low slung thing just kind of squatted down on the road. Sounds good on the external cameras as well, which is nice. Flames spitting from the exhausts. Cool. Well, that one's really good, so nice mod, that one. And it kind of sits in with some of the classic stuff you get in AMS2 already anyway, so that's nice. You could probably run this in the Oriole alongside some of the Group C cars as well, and have a good race with it, so cool. There's one more I think that I have to show you guys. And we're staying with the old historic vibe for this one. So the H-pattern gearbox will be coming out once again. This one can be found actually within one of the original categories for AMS2. So this is actually found in the vintage touring car section, and as you can see, we have the 2002 Turbo, the Corvette C3, and Ferrari 250 GTO, which is quite a special car, this one. So, of course, we're back in the land of V12s with the Ferrari. Front-engined, long bonnet, and classic wheels and all sorts of things to be playing around with here. So let's go find somewhere to chuck this car around in a safe but enjoyable manner. Where should we go with this one? I reckon we should go to Imola. Let's go to Imola. Take it home to Italy. So only 286 brake horsepower for this one. It's quite low by modern standards, but it's still enough for a bit of fun. Funky says, is that something like the M1 to drive? I suppose so, yeah. I think the M1 probably has potentially a little bit more grip. But yeah, that Chevette was pretty brutal to drive. Okay. Beautiful 60s styling on this Ferrari. Let's get out into the sunshine here. See all the reflections over that moulded bodywork on the front there. Of course, we have a nice wooden steering wheel and some chrome dials. Funky will be all over that. Loves those. And obviously a nice standard gated gear lever on there as well. And a very basic dashboard. But I've got the nice chrome bullet mirrors as well, just oozing style. Right, let's see what this V12 is sounding like. Okay, alright, we're only at low revs, but promising signs already for this one. Long pit lane here at Imola. It's cool, I like seeing the reflections on the wing there. You can just see the tower being stretched over as you go underneath it. It's very cool. Right, let's go. Yes. This sounds very nice indeed. Right. Let's check it through some corners and see what it does. Now this thing should move around a lot more than pretty much everything else we've driven this evening, but it should also be a little bit more in a rolly, floaty manner, such as the nature of the softer suspension, skinny, less grippy tyres with a really big slip angle on them. Powering up the hill. Sun in our face. Yeah, this is already feeling very nice to drive. It's got that nice balance of oversteer, but also catchability, so you can just apply a little bit of opposite lock and drive through those slides and just power out the other side, which is encapsulates these 60s eras of cars. You can just throw them through the corners and and just have a lot of fun with them. Put on the brakes early down here. Downhill braking, of course. We have 60s brakes on this thing, but it stops better than the the street cars we were driving earlier. Figure that one out. Okay, so we've been quite gentle with it on this outlet. Just kind of getting used to it. Let's try and apply a little bit more drive into it and see how it handles it. 5 gears, of course. We're going to brake about 250 here. Get this thing slowed down. You can see it rolling around. You can see the camera movement there as well as we threw it from left to right, which is what you'd expect. Yes, it's good. This is another one of the Project Cars modeling team's creations. And this one is good. Got a little bit too hot into that. Yes, this is really nice. Soak up the curbs. It's nice, it's just a smooth V12 sound. It's not sharp and aggressive and headache-inducing V12. It's a smooth and refined V12. More of a gentleman's racer, this one. Just a very expensive gentleman's racing car. 250 short wheelbase, of course. Teflon says, you saved the best till last then, Phil. Well, for me anyway. I'm sure many will prefer the IndyCar. Yeah, I mean, this is a very special car, this one. And I'm glad, I am actually properly glad that this works as well as it does. Because this really does, it piques my interest, this particular era of cars anyway. Just because they have their unique driving style required to extract out of them. And I'm happy to say this one does very much deliver on that style of driving, which just puts a huge smile on your face. But it also has a really good feeling of weight, because yeah, you can get the thing sideways and you can try and wrestle to get it back again. But you do feel sometimes that the weight takes over, so you get this huge shift as you go from left to right or right to left, whichever way you've lost it. And you can feel it trying to take over, but you can just about manage to wrestle it back into the right direction. Bit of understeer there. But yeah, that's really cool. So you can actually feel the weight of the body just throwing itself one direction to another, and then you got to just do your absolute best to try and get it back in shape. But it's so good.
Thanks for a great stream.
Oh, Pasonic, thank you very much for the 5. That's very, very kind of you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It has been good fun, and it's been good to test out these mods, and some of them are absolute gems, especially this one. Oh, it was really fun. Hey Danort, says there's also a whole GT3 pack out there, which has only been shared privately so far. Oh, right, okay. Cool. I know we've got some GT3s in AMS2 already, but some of them are a little bit on the older side of things. That'd be interesting to see how that goes if it gets shared publicly. Yeah, I mean that's thoroughly enjoyable to drive, this Ferrari. And yeah, one I can absolutely recommend that is worth trying out. Worth going through the process of getting mods installed on AMS2, even if it's just for this one and the IndyCar and the VRC mods. But that's really, really good. Right, quick look at this from outside. Oh, listen to that. That sounds so good. Yep. I 100% approve of that mod. It's really good. Right. Okay. So that is all the mods that I was going to show you this evening. But I did say we are going to revisit some and then potentially throw them in a racing environment as well. So what we're going to do is just a quick all-in race. So let's just go here. We're going to jump back in the single seater here. Oops, not that one. We're going to go in the IndyCar and I'll go with this one again. We'll go around Laguna Seca. So let's do a multi-class event here and we'll throw in all the ones we have. That one. Find the GT1 Sports Club. We have the GT4 mod there. IndyCars, of course. What else it was there? It's the street cars. We'll put the VRC cars in there as well. Right. Let's put that down there and we'll do that. We'll turn practice off. Final lap race around Laguna Seca and where am I going to start for this one? Rolling start? Yeah, why not? Oh, well, I haven't got a set for where I'm going to start, but we'll just go with it. We'll start from wherever we're put. So let's see what we can do with all these cars all in one and see how it shakes out. There'll be some interesting results here. So Zip says, yeah, contacted on YouTube. There's a FIA GT1 pack inside too. Oh, cool. And Radical SR3. Yeah, that old Ferrari is it's brilliant. Frank says, let the carnage begin. Yeah, absolutely, especially if we're going to be involved. Huge load of carnage. But if they can work with the AI, then good news. Right. Oh no, hang on, we have to reload that. We have no lights. For some reason we have race set to night time. Let's try that again. Race settings. 6 in the morning. Yep, that's an idea. We'll put it to 11. Should be better. Hey Kiwi Gamer, welcome along. It says, don't do what Josh Williams did. I don't know what he did, so I probably will repeat it if it hopefully not if it was bad, but yeah. Good to have you with us, Kiwi Gamer. Good to see you. And welcome to everyone who's joined in this evening who may be new here. It's great to see you wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we have a grid full of IndyCars. Okay, hang on. I need to rectify that. I think I had this issue earlier on, so it kind of just fills the grid with one particular thing. So I'm going to have to do a custom grid here and then just split them out manually. So hang on. So component number manual grid, that's what we want. That's maximum components 29. So if we just drop this all down. Yeah, what's this do? Yeah, that'd be fine. That should give us a selection of cars now. Third time lucky. So please enlighten me, Kiwi Gamer, what Josh Williams did, so I know not to repeat that. So Personic says, Donnyville, I'm going to have to work out how to install mods now. Yeah, sorry. You might have to. But hey, I might put together a video on how to do it, because if you guys need that, then I'm happy to do that. Yeah, as I said, it's a bit of a process, but oh right, okay, gotcha. So Kiwi Gaming said he got asked to park his car by NASCAR, so he parked it on the start-finish line. That's right. I did see something about some kind of controversy. Why is it still on IndyCars? What's going on? Why aren't you giving me everything else? Try that again. strange because it was working earlier on where I had different cars on track, but for some reason, not happy. Multi-class. Got all our classes on there. Got manual grid. We edited the grid. Turn IndyCars right down then. Strange. Okay. We'll try it once more, and if not, then we'll just have a race with IndyCars. So for that, Frank says, Sonic, yeah, so 2 text files you have to add into, copy and paste lines into, so JSGME is the software you need to use to install them properly. And then the boot files, and then, yeah, just getting them in the right order and doing it properly. If you tried this mod at Bathurst 83, that would be fun. We'd have to revisit Bathurst as well. Right, well, it's just IndyCar, so there we go. Just being greedy. We're into the back room. Well, let's see how the IndyCars race. So 5 laps around Laguna Seca. That position. So just says the IndyCars have a custom AI file, so it will attempt to fill the grid with up to 27 cars. Ah, gotcha. Strange, I managed to get to work earlier where I had multiple cars on track, but that's fine. This is pretty good so far. We're in the hunt here. Line up and move the inside here. We'll get that next car up the road. Well, I parked it, but it's not on the finish line. Oh, no, I can't get out of reverse gear. Right, okay. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. This time I'll try not to run off track. Slow off the final corner then. Spread the field out. They went a bit wide. Stuck on the outside there. So Frank says, feels fancy to take brake pedals knackered so he spins out like it's going out of start. Yeah, I'll blame that. We've got some damage up front. Someone getting into each other. To be honest, the thing that's broken is probably my brain. It's the slippers. There we go. Just ease off the throttle, don't go too mad with it. Stay on track. Nice clean pass by the AI there. And again, you running too deep. Yeah, I haven't got push to pass activated, I don't think. Or do I? No, I do. So there we go, push to pass is now finished, it's now reloading before I can use it again. Thanks for a reminder, Marty. Okay, you can go again. What's the other button? There's a pile up at the corkscrew. I don't know if we've got damage going on, but should be alright. Pushing all the buttons and I can't get it to go again. I don't want to know. North of a lap then. It's not 2 gears down there, Phil. Now I have it available again. Let's try again. Yep, now it's working again. Definitely feel the boost kicking off the corners there. Final lap then, see if we can do anything about these two ahead. so that was a quick 5-lap race. And yeah, I mean the IndyCar, oh dear, we have death. There's 2 of them on the roof. Scott McLaughlin involved. One of the Penske car by the looks of things. But yeah, so there were some mistakes in there by the AI, but there's also some pretty good racing as well. So I think this is a really good mod and a really good addition to MS2. Definitely worth going through the process, I think. Let's have a quick watch of. Right. I mean, the cars look fantastic on track and they drive really nicely as well, so it's really, really good. So, hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. There's a wide selection of mods available already. Some of them are better than others, some of them are still work in progress, I think, but yeah, I mean, definitely some worth adding to your installation file of AMS2, especially if you're a fan of IndyCar like this. So this car is just fantastic. But the Ferrari 250 GTO is amazing. The VRC cars are really good as well. So worth checking out, guys, and enjoying and having some fun with them. So yeah, good stuff. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, so go check them out for yourselves. Have a look, see which ones you want to try, and let me know in the comments below after you try them what you think of them as well. So tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong about some things. I'm happy to be wrong. But yeah, good fun. So I really enjoyed that. Thanks, guys, for your company tonight. It's been a pleasure as always to share the evening with you guys. Thank you for your comments on the chat there. It's been good to see some new faces and some familiar faces as well. So it's always a pleasure to have your company. So yeah. That's about us for the evening. I hope you have a good remainder of your weekend and whatever you're getting up to. If there's some sim racing action in the works for you, then I hope that goes well as well. But we will catch you very, very soon indeed. Thank you very much once again, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.